Hey everyone, Mr. Messier here. This is a lap guide for the new lap time challenge taking place at Brands Hatch with the Ferrari Testarossa. So let's go ahead and go on over to the lap time challenge. So going over to sport mode and make sure you have menu book number 9 completed to access sport mode. Click on time trials and you'll see the current lap time challenges being held. So this lap time challenge goes on from now until the end of February 5th, 2025, where we're using a stock Testarossa on the sports hard tires. So obviously, no, you cannot tune your car. Your goal is to go within the 3% time range of the world record time when the event ends, as that is when your lap time gets counted, and hopefully you'll be able to get to 2 million credits. I do have my in-game replay in the description down below if you want to check that out, but other than that, let's go ahead and go on over to the lap guide. Now with the Testarossa, you'll be shifting when the shift bar on the bottom starts to blink. You don't want to rev it out too much as the rev limiter is a bit after the bar starts to blink. Bring yourself over to the left side of the track, and your first braking point is before you reach the 2 board. You can also use the end of the pit wall on the right as your cue to start to brake. Brake as much as you can for a short moment, but as you reach the 1 board that is on the left, you want to start to ease off of the brakes and slowly start to turn in. So you can see right here, I'm starting to ease off of the brakes and I'm starting to turn in. And I'm going to wait a little bit more before I shift down to 3rd gear, because once I shift down, that'll help with the car's rotation. Ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a bit of trail braking. Be careful about touching the grass, as that can upset the car, especially if you're getting back on the throttle. So yeah, be careful about touching the grass. Stay on 3rd gear, do not use 4th gear. Brake before you reach the bridge or before you reach the red wall on the left. Use all of your braking power and make your way down to 2nd gear. Some people do use 1st gear, and that is to let the car rotate a bit more. But whatever you do, make sure you exit the turn on 2nd gear. So turn in almost right away. I just go down to 2nd gear. I don't use 1st gear. And I let the car coast for just a moment. Let the car do the turn and then gradually get back on the throttle. That way the car remains drama free. Now brake before the 1 board. And some people like to go down to 2nd gear, but I just stay on 3rd gear. Makes me worry about one less thing. But either way, brake hard for a short moment, ease off of the brakes shortly after, and you're turning in before the curb on the right ends. So you saw me just go a little bit wide, that way I can set myself up for this turn, go for a slightly later apex, and just gradually get back on the throttle, trying to avoid the grass on the right. Stay on the right, you're braking before the 1 board, and you'll be on full braking power for a short while, and you'll gradually make your way down to 2nd gear. If you can see the start of the curb on the right, that's going to be your turning point, and actually you're turning in just before the curb on the right starts. So I'm starting to ease off of the brakes, so I'm doing a little bit of trail braking, making my turn, going down to 2nd gear. That will let the car turn in a bit more. And I like to use this line as the apex, so once I'm right here, that's when I know I need to gradually start to get back on the throttle. And you want to be careful here, because if you're a bit too aggressive on the throttle, you can spin out. And also make sure you shift up to 3rd gear as you're exiting that turn. Now bring yourself towards the left. You're going to brake right as you're about to reach the 2 board that is on the left. So right about here, start to brake, use all of your braking power, but you're not going to shift down to 3rd gear just yet. Save that for just a little bit later. So use all your braking power, turn in before you reach the 1 board, and you want to be really gradual with easing off of your brakes so that the car doesn't start to slide around, which will cost you speed and time. Now go down to 3rd gear, and you want to be really gradual, easing on the brakes so the car doesn't get its balance upset. You will need to grab 4th gear, and you will be on 4th gear for just a moment, and then you'll brake just after the 2 board. So you can see the 2 board on the left right there. Brake right as you pass it, then turn in just as you're about to reach the 1 board on the left. And you do see me going down to 3rd gear. So go down to third gear, start to turn in, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, slowly ease on the throttle so you don't end up on the steering onto the grass. Grab fourth gear, and here you're already turning in just a little bit, but this is where you're going to start to brake, and you're going to carry that momentum to swing around the next right turn. I'm going to use nearly all of my braking power for a really brief moment, and that'll get the car to swing around this turn, taking advantage of the curves. Go down to third gear and be really careful easing on the throttle, as the car can get upset right there. You can see my car stepped out quite a bit right there. Brake before the one board, so you're braking before you start the final sector. Use all of your braking power, and here you can get away with just staying on third gear. Be really nice and careful getting back on the throttle, and you want to bring yourself towards the left for the final braking point. Use the 2 board as your final braking point, so you're braking right as you pass it. Use all of your braking power and go down to third gear. Your final turning point is just as you reach the 1 board that is on the left, and just stay on third gear. No need to go down to second gear. So ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a little bit of trail braking, and you just want to be nice and careful getting back on the throttle. You can see me getting really close to just clipping the grass. Stay towards the right to reduce track distance and finish your lap. And with that, I was able to get a 136.9, and it took me about 10,000 years to get into the 36s, but yeah, I'm really happy with that lap. But we'll go through this again without stopping the video, first in chase cam, then in bumper cam. So let's go ahead and get this started. So gonna bring myself towards the left, get ready for turn number 1, gonna brake before the 2 board, turn in before the 1 board, gradually making my way down to third gear, just trying to be really smooth with my inputs, as sharp inputs is not what this car really likes. This car can get pretty understeery if you're a bit too aggressive with this car, or oversteery depending on the turn that you're on. Here I like to swing out a bit wide, then bring myself back in, trying to go for a slightly later apex, and I do stay on third gear for that turn. Brake before the 1 board, turning in when the curb on the right is just about to start. Down to second gear, nice and careful getting back on the throttle. The car can step out over here quite a bit, so you do want to be careful about that. I'm going to go ahead and bring myself towards the left, going to brake before the 2 board, turn in before the 1 board, gradually make my way down to third gear, and just be really nice and easy, easing off the brakes, gradually getting back on the throttle. Briefly grab fourth gear, back down to third, nice and easy getting back on the throttle. Again, this car likes smooth inputs. You don't want to be too aggressive with this car. And here, braking before the 1 board, down to third gear, nice and careful getting back on the throttle. You can see my car just stepping out quite a bit right there. Here you can stay on third gear, you don't need to go down to second gear. And for the final turn, brake as you reach the 2 board, turn in as you reach the 1 board, down to third gear, nice and careful getting back on the throttle. And go ahead and bring yourself towards the right to reduce the track distance and finish your lap. So we'll go through this one more time, but this time we will be in bumper cam. So this is for the bumper cam homies out there. Here we go. So taking it from the very top, I'm going to go through the final corner on third gear, and eventually I'm going to make my way towards the left so I can get ready for turn number 1. So here we go, going towards the left, brake before the 2 board, turn in before the 1 board, gradually making my way down to third gear. So I'm going to be really careful easing off the brakes. Don't want the car to get a bit too crazy going through turn number 1. Brake before the bridge, down in second gear. Some people do go down to first gear for a bit more rotation, but either way, exit this turn on second gear. Here I like to swing out a bit wide, then bring myself back in for a slightly later apex, and I do stay on third gear there. Some people like to do second then third gear. Here I do go down to second gear and just want to be really careful getting back on the throttle. The car can get pretty upset over here if you are too aggressive getting back on the throttle. So again, this car loves smooth inputs, so you want to be smooth with this car. Brake before the 2 board, turn in before the 1 board, down to third gear, nice and careful getting back on the throttle. Briefly grab fourth gear and brake after the 2 board. And again, really careful getting back on the throttle. Now here you're going to brake and turn in before the 1 board, and the car will just swing in right there, down to third gear. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. You can see right there my car did step out quite a bit. I was just a little bit too aggressive and the car was getting ready to kick my butt. So you want to be careful about that. And finally, brake at the 2 board, turn in before you reach the 1 board, down to third gear, nice and careful getting back on the throttle, and bring yourself towards the right to finish your lap. And there we go, getting a 136.9. Yeah, it took a while to get into the 36s, but I'm happy I was able to reach that time. But hopefully this lap guide helps you out, and if you like this video, you can press the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But this is Mr. MCA going back to Tokyo, and I'll see you in the next video.